Okay, you really drunk that Kool-Aid. Now he is a vocal supporter of Donald Trump, so that's
Right.
one thing for the record. He also is he goes along with the trope with that is used by conservatives and alt-right folks. It's okay to be white. Now, the big thing that he said was based on a Rasmussen poll, which is a conservative-leaning poll.
That's usually wrong. That usually is an outlier of polls. Rasmussen.
Left feet, bro.
Nobody that's credible cites Rasmussen. Okay. Nobody that's credible in the media cites a Rasmussen poll to then justify controversial statements. They don't do that. Okay.
What the crazy Fox News? Fox News. I've actually heard them. Fox News Network uses Rasmussen.
Of course. Coup Plotter TV. Of course they use Rasmussen.
But they're the #1 cable network too. So
well, that shows you how many stupid ass people there are in America to watch Fox News. And then 74 million of them voted for the traitor-in-chief, Donald Trump. And then you just had a Fox News reporter say he wants to talk about the Dominion lawsuit against Fox News. He's been told by the higher ups of Fox News he can't talk about it. The $1.6 billion lawsuit by Dominion for all those lies Fox News, Coup Plotter TV told.
1.6
billion. Yeah, 1.6 billion. Yeah, $1.6 billion lawsuit could bankrupt Fox. I hope it does.
Hope it does too. All right, so what say you on this piece around? What was it about this story? Because this is just a story. Is this just a story of a white man that's showing his racism, or is there something else?
Well, I think it's something else because Elon Musk came out and defended him. Okay, so
wait a minute. The chief in tweet,
right? Exactly. Elon Musk, Twitter CEO, tweeted that the media previously, quote, was racist against non-white people. Now they're racist against whites and Asians. Okay, end quote. Okay, so he wants to make Asians.
Hold on, let me make sure. I want to make sure that our watchers.
It's in the. You have the article from the Associated Press.
Yes, I got it.
Okay, and then you can pull it. It's in that article. You can pull it up, page 2, and then also probably in the Washington Post article, but the one from Associated Press, yeah, it's in there. So I talked about this last night on the African History Network show. I posted the full video of Scott Adams' comments on my Instagram page and my YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, IMHOTEP. So he showed how he truly felt, and he thought there were going to be no consequences to this. Okay, but hundreds of newspapers, and looking at the reporting from CNN from Friday, February 24th, hundreds of newspapers dropped Dilbert comic strip after racist tirade from creator Scott Adams, and even more have dropped them since then.
Folks, welcome back to the show. Thank you so much for tuning in to The Culture here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, Farajii Muhammad. Folks, let's shift gears into another conversation with the Dilbert comic strip, a comic strip that is seen widely across the country and around the world. Its creator, Scott Adams, is in hot water for some racist remarks that he made on his podcast show last week, where he told white people to get the hell away from black people. Take a look at this. This is coming from NPR reporting of the story, folks, and this is very interesting, to say the least. So this is what this is the situation. The distributor of Scott Adams' Dilbert comic strip, Andrews McMeel Universal, announced yesterday it was severing ties with the cartoonist. Now, this came after Adams urged white people to get the hell away from black people during a racist rant on his online video program last week, during which he labeled black people a quote-unquote hate group. The Washington Post, the Los Angeles Times, and other newspapers across the country has already announced they would no longer carry the syndicated comic strip as a hate group. He even went as far as to say, folks, that black people are racist. Oh, Scott Adams, you don't know what that truly means. All right, let me bring in my brother Michael Imhotep, who can be seen on Roland Martin Unfiltered. He's also the host of the African History Network podcast show, and he is a scholar and researcher. And he is looking at this, and he said, what is he saying? What say you, Brother Michael? Thank you for joining us this afternoon. When you heard about this, now, Dilbert, this is interesting. It's so funny that you brought this to my attention. So I said, let's go with it. Let's roll with it, right?
Right.
But what's interesting is that I remember listening to Scott Adams on another podcast, maybe like a couple of weeks ago, talking about why he decided to create Dilbert. Like he was in a low period of his life, and he always wanted to be a cartoonist, but he had to go in the corporate space, and then that came out of this situation. But now it's like, he said he's always, and it's interesting, he said, my views have always been considered controversial, but, I just take it with a grain of salt because I know that as a white man, I'm in this space, blah, blah, blah. Nothing racist at the time when I heard this podcast.
Right.
But then to see this, it's like, wow. Okay, you really drunk that Kool-Aid. Now, he is a vocal supporter of Donald Trump, so that's one thing for the record. Mm-hmm. He also is, he goes along with the trope with that is used by conservatives and alt-right folks. It's okay to be white. Now, the big thing that he said was, based on a Rasmussen poll, which is a conservative-leaning poll,
that's usually wrong. That usually is an outlier of polls. Rasmussen.
Left feet, bro.
Nobody that's credible cites Rasmussen. Okay. Nobody that's credible in the media cites a Rasmussen poll to then justify controversial statements. They don't do that. Okay.
What the crazy Fox News? Fox News. I've actually heard them. Fox News Network uses Rasmussen.
Of course. Coup Plotter TV. Of course they use Rasmussen.
But they're the #1 cable network too. So
that shows you how many stupid ass people there are in America to watch Fox News. And then 74 million of them voted for the traitor-in-chief, Donald Trump. And then you just had a Fox News reporter say he wants to talk about the Dominion lawsuit against Fox News. He's been told by the higher ups of Fox News he can't talk about it. The $1.6 billion lawsuit by Dominion for all those lies Fox News, Coup Plotter TV told.
1.6
billion. Yeah, 1.6 billion. Yeah, $1.6 billion lawsuit could bankrupt Fox. I hope it does.
Hope it does too. All right, so what say you on this piece around? What was it about this story? Because this is just a story. Is this just a story of a white man that's showing his racism, or is there something else?
Well, I think it's something else because Elon Musk came out and defended him. Okay, so
wait a minute, the chief in tweet,
right? Exactly. Elon Musk, Twitter CEO, tweeted that the media previously, quote, was racist against non-white people. Now they're racist against whites and Asians. Okay, end quote. Okay, so he wants to make Asians.
Hold on, let me make sure. I want to make sure that our watchers.
It's in the. You have the article from the Associated Press.
Yes, I got it.
Okay, and then you can pull it. It's in that article. You can pull it up, page 2, and then also probably in the Washington Post article, but the one from Associated Press, it's in there. So I talked about this last night on the African History Network show. I posted the full video of Scott Adams' comments on my Instagram page and my YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, IMHOTEP. So he showed how he truly felt, and he thought there were going to be no consequences to this. Okay, but hundreds of newspapers, and looking at the reporting from CNN from Friday, February 24th, hundreds of newspapers dropped Dilbert comic strip after racist tirade from creator Scott Adams, and even more have dropped them since then. So he's facing a huge backlash. So the poll said 53% of Black Americans said it was okay to be white. 26% basically said it was not okay to be white. He cites the 26%. You have to understand what he's saying. He's citing a minority of the African-American population from a bogus poll outfit, Rasmussen, and he called African-Americans a hate group because of this faulty poll. It said 26% of black respondents disagreed that it's okay to be white. So he goes and does a YouTube video based upon this. Then he also says that he's going to stop helping African Americans because it doesn't do any good. My question to him is, when have you had a track record of helping African Americans to any extent? Then he went on and he concluded saying that he was tired of seeing videos on social media day after day after day showing black people beating up non-black people. He said this also. So I'm like, where the hell, what websites are you on? What social media platforms are you on? Maybe it's 4chan. Maybe it's that. No, not World. Now, I don't think he's on World Star. It may be 4chan, because 4chan is the white supremacist message board where the racist trope "it's okay to be white" started. Okay, so then we get into, well, where are you spending your time on social media? He said he's tired of seeing videos day after day after day of black people beating up non-white people. Okay, beating up black people beating up white people, basically. So where are you getting these videos from? So he has dug a hole for himself, and it's good that they took action and canceled his little comic strip. Okay, he should not. Now, maybe Donald Trump will give him a platform on Truth Social, probably so. And then Elon Musk is drawing backlash from his comments as well, but we know Elon Musk is a racist also, so we pretty much figured that out. I don't think a lot of people know that, and let me just say this: I don't think a lot of people know that, or they get too deep in it, or maybe we're in a state of denial about some things. But that's a different conversation. I think they're learning it based upon the changes he's made to Twitter and allowing what he calls free speech, but allowing racist language to take place. And they had a huge spike in using the N-word, and different things like this, different racist language after he took over Twitter. I think a lot of people are getting a rude awakening about Elon Musk. But
let me just do this. We got a couple. Keenan, you got a little bit of this video of Scott Adams before we take our next pause. Let's play a little bit of what Scott Adams, the creator of Dilbert, had to say.
Well, Rasmussen poll had a provocative little poll today. They said, do you agree or disagree with the statement, it's okay to be white? That was an actual question. Rasmussen asked, white and black voters, and probably others, do you disagree or agree with the statement, it's okay to be white? 26% of blacks said no. It's not okay to be white. 21% weren't sure. Add them together, that is 47% of black respondents were not willing to say it's okay to be white. That's like a real poll. This just happened. Did you have any idea? Would you have imagined that could have happened? So I realized, as you know, I've been identifying as black for a while, years now, because I like to be on the winning team, and I like to help. And I always thought, well, if you help the black community, that's sort of the biggest lever. You can find the biggest benefit. So I thought, well, that's the hardest thing and the biggest benefit. So I'd like to focus a lot of my life resources in helping black Americans. So much so that I started identifying as black to just be on the team I was helping. But it turns out that nearly half of that team doesn't think I'm okay to be white, which is, of course, why I identified as black, so I could be on the winning team for a while. But I have to say, this is the first political poll that ever changed my activities. I don't know that that's ever happened before. Normally you see a poll, you just look at it and you go, whatever. Oh, this is interesting what other people think. But as of today, I'm going to re-identify as white because I don't want to be a member of a hate group. I'd accidentally joined a hate group. So if nearly half of all blacks are not okay with white people, according to this poll, not according to me, according to this poll, that's a hate group. That's a hate group. And I don't want to have anything to do with them. And I would say, based on the current way things are going, the best advice I would give to white people is to get the hell away from black people.
Yeah, he's an idiot. Now, according to this fake poll, 53%.
Hold on, brother Michael. Hold on. I got hey, yo, crew. Wait, but hold on. No, I gotta take a pause. I gotta take a pause. I need a moment, man. I need a cup of coffee or something, man. I cannot believe what this dude just said.
Right.
This race thing is getting way out of hand, brother Michael. It's getting way out of hand, man.
Well,
I'm serious. We got a serious problem with race. And this is what happens when you don't address racism for hundreds of years. When you just keep letting that shit just keep piling up. This is what happens. You got a grown-ass white man who says he identifies as black to be on the winning team.
Yep. So which is ridiculous in the first place.
I can't do it. All right,
you're right. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous in the first place. So this is
thought. I gotta take me a break.
Oh, okay. All right.
Woo! That was a little Monday surprise. Folks, stay with us. It's a lot more to talk about with this situation. I need to hear what y'all got to say, crew. I need to hear that. Just stay with me. It's the culture right here on the Black Star Network. Wow. All right, folks, welcome back. We've been talking about Dilbert creator Scott Adams and how he's under fire for some controversial remarks that he made about black people and white people, essentially calling black people a quote-unquote hate group and telling white people to run as far or to get the hell away from black people. Now, this comes out of a video program that he has where he referenced a Rasmussen poll that shows, that asks the question, is it okay to be white? Where he said that nearly half of black people, 26% who say no and 21% who said they don't know, nearly half of those black people that were polled says it's not okay to be white. And in turn, by him identifying himself as a black person, that he doesn't want to be associated or a part of any group of people that is not a winning team. Let me bring my brother back, Michael Imhotep, host of the African History Network. And look, I'm really, and you know, we can laugh and we can kind of like, what is going on? But the race question, brother Michael, the race issue in this country, you know, when you see this, when you see racial dolezal, the race issue has gotten so bad in this country where we become delusional, that we become this other thing. Like we just.
Well, the two quick things here. Rachel Dolezal actually did civil rights work that was applauded by people in the civil rights community. Now, she pretended to be white. She pretended to be African American when she was white.
That's fine that she did the work, but she identified herself
right
as a black woman.
But she did try to look like a black woman. He didn't try to look like a black man. He just
white people could do civil rights work.
Right. Oh, absolutely. We know
that. But that's nothing different. But this guy, he's like,
he identified as a black person. Now, I never heard of him doing that before. But here are a couple of things. So this is the Donald Trump effect, where some white people feel they can say whatever they want to say without repercussions and consequences. Okay,
I'm gonna be honest with you. Can I jump in real quick, bro, Mike?
Yeah,
you help me, because I need you to be my therapist right now. I need you to help me. I need you to help me to understand. Like, you can say whatever you want. I'm still at the fact that how is he able to publicly and confidently say, I identify as a black person?
Right. Just stupid. He's stuck on stupid. Okay. And then he chooses to identify with a black person. as being black. But then he also said that he's used his resources, things like this, to help African Americans. So now, if you have a history of using your resources to help African Americans, then you would meet a lot of them who are not against white people. For you to quote a fake poll like this and then say you have a history of using your resources to help African Americans, that's a contradiction. Because if you actually have that track record, then you would meet a lot of African Americans who are okay with white people. They just don't like white supremacy and racism. They're against white supremacy and racism. Instead of just taking it
from a poll and then automatically saying, I am from this day forward, am now no longer going to identify as a black person. I'm going to identify myself as a white person because I don't. Instead of just, first and foremost, bro, you don't have, where are the receipts? Where is your track record? Where is
I want to see
proof that you have been, quote unquote, in black spaces helping black people? Where are those receipts? Second of all, like, why do you the thinking of, and this is really what I'm getting at, because the thinking that if I join them, I'm gonna help them, like I'm an asset to them.
Well,
you're a cartoonist.
Well, it depends, you know,
workplace culture from a white man's perspective.
Right. Once again, you know, African Americans, we've always had allies of different races, different ethnicities throughout our history, whether it's the abolitionist movement during slavery, whether it's the civil rights movement, whether it's people like Viola Louisa, whether it's Reverend James Reeb, things like this, whether it's Goodman and Schwerner. Even during the modern day civil rights movement, there were white allies in the modern day civil rights movement. When you look at the Black Power movement, you look at the Black Panthers working with the Brown Berets, you look at them working with radical white groups, things like this, because the Black Panther Party for self-defense, they were not against white people, they were against white supremacy and racism. So when you study our history, we've had allies. With him, I don't know what the track record is that he's citing. But the other thing is something that's important. I didn't get a chance to talk about this in the first segment. He said his advice to white people would be to get the hell away from black people. Okay. But now, partly I agree with him on that. And what I mean by that, if you're talking about some white people who are white supremacists, who want to commit hate crimes against African Americans, who want to falsely call the police on us for sleeping while black, or we're in the library studying, mind our own business. They don't think that we're supposed to be there, or different instances where you see we're just doing our job, mind our own business, and some white people want to call the police on us. Okay, those white people need to leave us the hell alone. If you don't like us so much, leave us alone. Okay.
But haven't we been saying that though, Brother Michael?
Well, I'm saying it again.
No, I know. I hear
that. I'm saying it again on the culture with Farajii Muhammad.
No, let me tell you something. We've been saying that. We've been saying, give us our own land. Leave us alone. Let us establish our own social and political and economic infrastructure. We have been saying that. I think the part of the conversation that this dude is missing is that once we start going down the record of creating our own reality, then white people get jealous and envious that after all of these years of oppression and tyranny, that we still got the resiliency to get back and start something different. And guess what? They burn it down. They want to destroy it.
Sometimes they get jealous and want to destroy it. We rebuild it because
they don't want to see us win, as DJ Khaled said. They don't want to see us win.
Right.
And you know, even because we got the juice, and now next thing you know, you're mad because you wonder where they get. They turn lemons into lemonade. Shit, I'm going to cut down the whole lemon tree. So
my comments were not for all white people, because all white people don't think like that. But I'm talking about the ones that want to do us harm, the white supremacists. Leave us the hell alone. And this is the paradox here.
They can't, bro. They can't.
Well, the paradox is that they can't. So
if the hate in their heart won't allow them to.
So Saturday online, I did a Black History Month lectures in a series I was dealing with Black resistance, and Black resistance movements, because that's the annual theme for 2023 for Black History Month, Black resistance. And I talked about the Black Exodus of 1879 of 6,000 African Americans migrating from Louisiana and Texas primarily, but also Mississippi, all going out west to Kansas, because they were trying to escape the racism and domestic terrorism, especially in Louisiana and Texas. So they go out to Kansas. Now, what happened was you had white plantation owners, white landowners in Louisiana and Texas who despised African Americans, but they wanted our cheap labor. Okay. And they appealed to politicians to pass laws to keep us from leaving those states so they could keep exploiting us, but they despised us. Okay. If people go to the National Park Service, and look at they're called, they have a section called exodusters, EXODUSTERS. They were called exodusters. It's referred to as the Black Exodus of 1879. Okay. So this is the paradox. You hate us, but you want to exploit us. Okay. So you have that part. And so they need to leave us the hell alone, those that think like that. And then this is part of the Trump effect, where Trump has unleashed a lot of hatred in some white people to make them think they can do whatever they want to do. This is white privilege, white supremacy. They make them think they can do whatever they want to do, say whatever they want to say without any consequences. All right. And then hide behind free speech, because that's what he's saying. That's what Scott Adams is saying now. These newspapers, they're against free speech, things like that. No, free speech, there are limitations on free speech. When you put out messages that are hateful, there are limitations on that. You can't just go out and say whatever you want to say. So he messed around and found out. That's what I posted on the YouTube video, because I posted his rant. And now toward the end of his video, and I have it on my YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, he said that for African Americans who are going to college and trying to better themselves, things like this, he kind of made a caveat. He wasn't really talking about that. He was talking about others. Okay, that's in the video also. But this is just stupid. But all these newspapers did the right thing to cancel him. They did the right thing. He messed around and found out.
He did. Now, I went very quickly before we take our next pause. I want to get some comments in from my crew, because folks are checking in and they've been trying to figure out what I'm trying to figure out. It's like, dude, what are you talking about? Tiana, you say, where's the Sandman when you need him? Talking about the iconic character, the Sandman from Showtime at the Apollo.
Right.
I used to love watching that show on Saturday nights. I'm telling you, the Sandman came out there. Right. Terrible. There it is. Thank you, Tiana. Rodney, checking in. You said he sounds like a fool. He sounds like a complete fool. Yes, absolute fool. Rodney, thank you. Sandra, checking in. Sandra, you say, I cannot believe what I just heard, and he thinks he makes sense. That's the problem.
Well, the reason why he thinks he makes sense, it probably is because of the people he spends his time with think the same way he does. So it's negative reinforcement of a stupid ass mentality.
Tell me, there's a group of white people out there in America who I want us to parse this a little bit. There's a group of white people in America who identify as black because they want to be on a quote unquote the winning team.
I don't know if I'm not saying they identify as black. I'm not saying they identify as black because they want to be on a winning team, but they would think the same thing from this poll from Rasmussen, and they would say stay the hell away from black people. Okay,
wait a minute. If you identify as black, if you say I want to be a part of this community, all it takes for you is one poll, and then you say I'm ghost, I'm gone, I'm done. It takes one poll.
But according to this fake poll, the majority of African Americans say it's okay to be white. He goes with the minority. He goes with the 53%.
He said 26 that says it's not okay, and these said the 21. That just means that they
He said they didn't know. He said they didn't know.
I don't know.
Right. I don't know. They could be saying, I really don't understand your question. It's okay to be white. Okay. They could be saying that. So he goes with the minority and makes this and then labels African Americans as a hate group. Okay, we don't have a history of enslaving over 4 million white people in this country. We don't have a history of lynching white people. We don't have a history of going and burning down white people's towns. Things like these of this nature.
We don't have a history of creating systems that keep white people systemically oppressed. We don't have a history of creating of dressing up in white sheets and terrorizing black communities for years. We don't
white
have
communities. Yeah, we don't have that history.
We don't. I mean, we don't have this history.
But see, now this goes back to our conversations dealing with Ron DeSantis down in Florida. Okay, because when you have people who are trying to pass laws to keep this type of history from actually being taught and discussed in schools, then what you're doing is you're setting up the next generation to be even more ignorant than the previous generation, okay, of all people. And, closing this out with Dr. Carter G. Woodson. Dr. Carter G. Woodson, who created Negro History Week, which became Black History Month, he was a historian. He had a PhD in American history from Harvard University. He said that the history of African Americans had to be taught in every school across the country. White children needed to learn that history also, because he felt that a lot of racism and prejudice was the byproduct of white people and others, but especially white people not knowing the accomplishments and achievements that African Americans have contributed to world history, not just to America, but to world history and world civilizations. Okay. What this fool just said is an example of that. And this also ties into critical race theory, because critical race theory is created in the late 1960s to study the laws and policies put in place and to look at why African Americans were not able to make as many advancements as they should have been able to make after the civil rights movement. It's because of the laws and policies that have been put in place, systemic racism. That's why critical race theory was created, to analyze that so that you can correct that also. So
Right. All right. Well, let me just say to Jay West, you say he at one point claiming himself as trans black. And I think we need to, and I think we need to have a whole different conversation about being trans black. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That you can kind of come in and out of these spaces when you see fit, based upon your convenience and based upon the climate. So, Jay West, I appreciate you for putting that out there. And you're absolutely right. All I'm going to tell Scott Adams is shut up and draw.
Shut up and draw. Nobody's going to read it now.
Draw, Scott Adams.
I mean, maybe on the white supremacist social media platforms, things like this, but he's been dropped by hundreds of newspapers. They don't want to deal with it.
At this point, all you're going to do is, now you can't, well, you can draw all you want. Ain't nobody going to read your pieces, and right, and justifiably so they shouldn't. All right, we got to take another pause. When we come forward, hey, Brother Michael, we're going to hear from you about what's going on with Japanese Americans showing their support and standing in solidarity with Black people in this country around reparations. Really? Boy, race is tearing everybody into a different person. We'll have that conversation. And of course, with you, stay with us as the culture here on the Black Star Network. The sky's the limit. Look, we got a couple of seconds left. Talk to us about the work you're doing.
Okay, visit our website, theafricanhistorynetwork.com. We had 2 new 12-week online courses that just started up this past weekend, the weekend before. Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'af for understanding the transatlantic slave trade, where they didn't teach you in school, on Saturday, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then on Sunday, Black resistance movements, Haitian Revolution, the U.S. Civil War, the Civil Rights Movement, and Black Power Movement, 1800 to 1968. So register for both of those classes. We do the sessions live. All the sessions are archived and recorded. You can go back and watch it anytime. Even after the course is over with, you'll still have full access. You can watch it. And this information is PG-13. You can use this with your children as well. Register at our website, theafricanhistorynetwork.com.
There it is, Brother Michael Imhotep. You can see him on Mondays here on The Culture. You can also check him out on Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Yeah, on Fridays.
And so we're so happy he's able to spend some of his time and, most importantly, his brilliance with us. Thank you, Brother Michael.
Oh, thank you, brother. Thank you, Farajii. Peace.
Peace, brother.
Hotep, everybody. Hey, this is Michael Imhotep, founder of the African History Network and host of the African History Network show. Some of you all saw me on Farajii Muhammad's show, The Culture, on Monday, February 27th. And we talked about Scott Adams, creator of the Dilbert comic strip, who is losing newspapers that carry his comic strip because of a racist tirade that he went on. And at the end of the show, I talked about 2 online courses that I teach on the weekend, 2 online history courses. So on Saturdays, I teach a 12-week online course called Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. And this class just started up Saturday, March 4th, 2023. We have class number 3, and I teach this class 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we deal with thousands of years of history and what leads up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. I do a PowerPoint presentation. We have book references, articles, video clips, and you never look at history the same way. When we study the transatlantic slave trade, we can't start studying our history in slavery. Even when we deal with the transatlantic slave trade, which is important to study, we can't start in 1619 or in the 1440s when the Portuguese get involved. We have to understand the history chronologically and deal with the 800-year occupation of Europe by the Africans known as the Moors, who enter into the Iberian Peninsula, today known as Spain and Portugal, from North Africa in 711 AD, and they take the teachings from ancient Kemet, ancient Egypt, into Europe. Now, and these teachings are going to bring Europe out of the Dark Ages. Now, this course not only deals with the transatlantic slave trade, but it also deals with thousands of years of history that leads up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. August 20th, 2019 marked the 400th year anniversary of the 20 and odd Africans who came into Point Comfort on August 20th, 1619 on that White Lion pirate ship in what would later become called the colony of Virginia. Now, this year, 2019, was known as the year of return, as many African Americans were and continue to reconnect to Africa and traveling to Ghana and other West African countries, of the original people of North, Central, and South America. Okay. So this year was known as the year of return, 2019, as many African Americans were and continue to reconnect to Africa and traveling to Ghana and other West African countries. When we discuss the transatlantic slave trade, we have to first understand that African people are the original people of North, Central, and South America and have been in the land we call the United States of America at least 51,700 years. And one of the sources that we use in the class is Dr. David Imhotep's book, The First Americans Were Africans, Documented Evidence. Now, you don't have to buy any of these books to follow along in class, but we use them for reference. So there's about 70, 80 articles that we reference as well. Visit our website, theafricanhistorynetwork.com, theafricanhistorynetwork.com. And we have the information right on the homepage of the website. 12-week online course, Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. So this class is on sale, $80 right now. Our next class is Saturday, March 4th, 2023, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Click right here to register for the full course. So I do the sessions live. All the sessions are archived and recorded. Even after the 12-line course is over with, you can go back and watch the entire course as much as you want to. You'll have full access. All right. And then we also have a bundle pack where you get both classes that I teach on sale for $120. That's a $300 value. There will be 5 of my lectures that will be in the video library when you log into your account, and you'll be able to watch 5 of my lectures as a free bonus as well. Now, the second class that I teach deals with history from 1800 to 1968. And this is Black resistance movements from the Haitian Revolution to the Civil War, Civil Rights Movement, and Black Power Movement, 1800 to 1968. So I teach this class on Sundays, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Our next class is Sunday, March 5th, 2023. And with this course here, we study in depth this 168, 170 year period of history. Okay, this is a 12-week online course as well. Same structure as the first class. Click right here to register here. And we have to understand that history leading up to the Civil War, what led up to the Civil War taking place, but then also understand what happened after slavery ended as well. Okay, and this helps us understand how we got to where we are today. What were the laws and policies? What were the laws and policies that were put in place to put us in the predicament that we're in today as African Americans, to understand where we need to go from here. Okay, so in the aftermath of the insurrection on January 6, 2021, at the U.S. Capitol, many leading historians drew parallels between the violence that we saw January 6, 2021, and the Reconstruction era, which is 1865 to 1877. And this is the period after the Civil War ended in 1865. This was a period of political revolution directly following the American Civil War. Now, this 12-week online course will analyze U.S. history primarily from the African American perspective, beginning in the period 1800 to 1856, leading up to the end of the Civil War, okay, in 1800 to 1865 as well, and the 13th Amendment. We'll look at the Reconstruction era, 1865 to 1877, the Red Summer of 1919, the Jim Crow era, World War I, the Great Migration, 1915 to 1970, World War II, the Civil Rights Movement, and Black Power Movement. To better understand where we need to go from here and the laws and policies that need to be put in place, but you have to understand how you got to where you are today. The laws and policies that have now distributed wealth, power, and resources into the hands of Europeans. And we have to understand the lasting legacy of slavery as well. Now, it's important to understand this chronology of history to get a better understanding of how we got to where we are now, to understand where we go from here. Unfortunately, some of this history is repeating itself. Okay, unfortunately, some of this history is repeating itself. So this class, you can register for it now. As soon as you register, you can watch the class number 1 that we just had. Watch that. All right. Now, there's a good article from time.com that we reference in the class as well. There's a good article from Time Magazine, time.com. And this article is a new report finds that 45 states are to students. A new report finds that 45 states are failing to teach students about the period that shaped race relations after the Civil War. And they're talking about the Reconstruction era. Okay, the Reconstruction era. And if we look briefly here at this article, it says scholars say studying the aftermath of the Civil War help context many of the most seminal events in the U.S. in recent years, from the brutal murder of George Floyd by police to the voter suppression laws enacted after Black voters played a big role in helping Joe Biden and Kamala Harris be elected president and vice president in 2020. But despite the timeliness of the era in today's climate, many students in American schools will not get a full education on Reconstruction until they go to college. Okay, many students in American school will not get a full education on Reconstruction until they go to college. Now the problem is most of them are not going to go to college, or a good portion of them are not going to go to college. All right. So that's why the content of this course is so important. And your understanding of politics is directly related to your understanding of history. And politics is the legal distribution of scarce wealth, power, resources, and the writing of laws, statutes, ordinances, amendments, and treaties, their adoption, interpretation, and enforcement. So coming out of this course, you'll have a much better understanding of how we got to where we are today, the laws and policies put in place, the laws and policies that need to be put in place to take us to where we need to go. Okay, so this is understanding where we go from here. All right, so visit our website, theafricanhistorynetwork.com, theafricanhistorynetwork.com. We have the information around the homepage of the website. Black resistance movements from the Haitian Revolution, the Civil War, the Civil Rights Movement, the Black Power Movement. So we start in 1800. We look at the Louisiana Purchase of 1803 and the Haitian Revolution as well, 1791 to 1803, because those two events are related. And then we go through history chronologically, and we look at things like the Missouri Compromise of 1820, Texas winning its independence in 1836 from Mexico, Mexico winning its independence in 1821 from Spain, the Mexican-American War, 1846 to 1848, Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, which ends the Mexican-American War, and the U.S., as a result of the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, is going to get the territory that makes up California, Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, Utah, and Nevada. They're going to get all that from Mexico. Mexico loses about a third of their territory. We look at the Kansas-Nebraska Act of 1854, and we look at why the Civil War starts April 12, 1861. Then we go through and analyze the U.S. Civil War, Emancipation Proclamation, January 1st, 1863, which did not free the enslaved Africans. Ratification of the 13th Amendment, December 6, 1865. Reconstruction era, 1865, 1877. Compromise of 1877, which ends Reconstruction, and Rutherford B. Hayes becomes president. And the Republicans make a backroom deal with the Democrats that if they let Rutherford B. Hayes become president, he'll remove the remaining Union troops out of the South from Florida and South Carolina, etc. And then you have the Jim Crow era, where the white supremacists are taking back control of all levels of government in the southern states. You have, so we studied the Jim Crow era, Plessy versus Ferguson, 1896, U.S. Supreme Court case, Mississippi State Convention of 1890, where they rewrite the state constitution and impose poll taxes and literacy tests in a state that had a majority African-American population, and the majority of the voters were African-American as well. So you go through this period where you see these southern states, these former Confederate states, rewriting their state constitutions. South Carolina, 1895, Mississippi, 1890, poll taxes being imposed in Florida in 1889. So we go through the Jim Crow era, Great Migration, 1915, 1970, 6 million African Americans migrating from the South up north and out west. World War I, 1914, 1918, World War II, 1939, 1945, Civil Rights Movement and Black Power Movement. Okay, to understand what happened to us after slavery ended and what leads up to the Civil War taking place, so we can understand how we got here today and understand history, law, politics, and economics to understand where we go from here. So Black resistance movements from the Haitian Revolution to the U.S. Civil War, Civil Rights Movement, and Black Power Movement. Okay, so you register for that class right now at theafricanhistorynetwork.com, theafricanhistorynetwork.com. That's on sale, $80 as well. And we have the bundle pack where you get both classes for $120. For both classes, this information is PG-13, I would say, so you can use this with your children as well. And also to support the African History Network, you can support us, $the AHN Show through Cash App, $the AHN Show through Cash App, also through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN Show. And we have it right on the homepage of our website as well. This helps us to keep doing the research, stay on the air, keep broadcasting, finance the African History Network show, pay some of the bills, etc. Okay. So we have a PayPal and Cash App information there also. All right. So hope to see you in class. Visit our website, theafricanhistorynetwork.com, theafricanhistorynetwork.com. Remember, right now, also for returning students, those who have paid for one of my online courses in the past, you get a 50% discount. Returning students, you get a 50% discount on our bundle pack. So email me at ahnshow@theafricanhistorynetwork.com, ahnshow@theafricanhistorynetwork.com. All right. And we'll get you taken care of. Right now, it's correct wrong behaviors, not over till we win. Wakanda